Oops. Hey guys, it's your main man Mike from EAKCrewProductions, and today I thought I'd bring you my worm deck. Worms are pretty fun. They're not super meta, but I mean, you can walk away with quite a bit of wins with worms. So I thought I'd just show you my build that I have right now that I've been using. It's pretty good. I win most of my duels. So 2 card D. I use that because Worms is kind of a slower paced deck, and as you'll see, it runs a lot of traps because of that. And card D is a way that I can draw into the monsters that I need, and with a lot of traps, I'm able to save myself on turns that I card D and don't summon another monster because of it. One honest, because you'll notice that like all the reptiles, all the worms in this deck are light, so honest can be dropped at any moment pretty much and can win you the game. One Max C, just because I kind of had the room for it. I didn't want to play another card, and since Mermel's is such a big deck, Max C is actually really clutch against them. Followed up with the Tragodia that you could drop right after. So Tragodia is really good in this deck. Sometimes you do find yourself setting a lot of cards and the Tragodia becomes a little dead because maybe you had like the Starlight Road, so you were like, I'm going to just set the nuts. But Tragodia has won me a few games. I've gotten it up to 3,600 quite a few times. 2 Worm Carteros, just because it sucks that he has to flip to be able to get his effect. Like, it would be so much better if it was just when he was summoned, any type of summon. But he's what gets you your Zex, your Worm Zex, and that's really important. So I run 2 of him. Then I run 1 Worm King, just because he's a giant beat stick that you can bring out relatively easy. 3 Worm Zex, I'm sorry. 3 Worm Zex. He's your main worm of the deck. He's what really gets the whole engine started. And then, of course, Yangan, which is your defender. The worm that they're going to have a lot of issues with because of its amazing effect. And then I run 1 Book of Moon just because it helps resets the Yangans. And Yangan just gets rid of... I mean, if you don't know what Yangan is, it's pretty much a compulse whenever flipped. But if you have a Zex on the field, it can special summon itself from the graveyard. But if you do it if you special summon it that way, when it's removed from the field, it gets banished. And Zex sends the Yangan to the graveyard, so the play is normal summon Zex, send Yangan to the grave, special summon Yangan, set face down, and then you have a flip. And of course, Zex effect, I think, yes, when you have a Yangan face up on the field, Zex can't be destroyed by battle. So they work very well together. Like Book of Moon, like I said, to reset your Yangan. Dark Hole, because Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and Reborn. But then I also play Mind Control. I think Mind Control is really good, just in general. Pretty good in this deck because you do have level 4s, which is pretty standard in most decks. And then, of course, because of that card, I run Utopia Ray and Gaia Charger in the extra deck. 3 MST. MST is just so good, and you don't want your Worms X's that get bottomless like at all. It's really not something you can afford to happen, so you gotta run 3 MST. 2 bottomless Trap Hole, clear out your opponent's monsters. Same logic with the Dimensional Prison. I really like Prison because it gets rid of cards like Stardust and Zen Mains. I think it's infinitely better than a lot of cards in these formats. I hate the fact that it's not chainable except for to an attack, so it can get MST'd and you won't have any response to it, but I think the card is too inexpendable to not play at all. 2 Fiendish Chain, this card is fantastic, this format. It's really effect monster heavy, and Fiendish Chain just kind of shuts it down. 2 Mirror Force. Mirror Force is one of those cards that you can have more novice players run into and destroy their entire field. Those aggressive players kind of just go, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs against, your Judgment, because this deck is controlled based, so you're running the Judgment and the Warning. I know for some people that's too much life to pay, but in a deck where it's kind of this slow, even though this deck can speed up and become really aggressive, it does have slow starts, and Judgment is kind of your counter, and Warning as well, is your counter to your opponent's fast open plays, and it really just helps you get to pace with them. Starlight Road, this deck, like I said, is a bit slow, so you really don't want a Dark Hole or a Heavy Storm to hit you because you probably won't be able to come back from it, so you need a card like Starlight Road to protect you. Two Threatening Roar. I don't think this is in most people's worm builds. They probably play something maybe better. I don't know. But I like Threatening Roar for the simple fact that it allows me to like flip a Kartos if I want to, or and it also helps protect my monsters. Like maybe I have a Yangan set, but they have a way of getting rid of the Yangan by attacking it, and you know. So I like to be able to hit the Threatening Roar, or maybe they're going to attack me, and I'd really need to make an Exceed play, or my Tragodia is too weak this turn, but if I'm able to wait one more turn, it won't be. So I like Threatening Roar. I think it's a good card, just in general. Two Torrential Tribute. I love this card in this deck as well. Although you don't want to wipe your own board with a Torrential Tribute. Sometimes if your opponent is pushing for major advantage, your Torrential Tribute can just cripple them, like, you know, right in the midst of them going off. Really great for interrupting their plays and ruining their amazing combos, and then you can come back really control heavy and win the game. And then of course 3 W Nebula Meteorite, probably the best archetype trap like card, like genre card ever. I mean, change all face down defense position monsters face up to the field in face up defense position. So flip your Yangan, and then during the end phase, and your Yangan then gets an effect, of course. Then during the end phase, this turn, change all face up light reptile monsters you control to face down defense position. So then you're resetting your Yangan. You also gotta reset your Zex, but that's whatever. That's why we read a lot of traps. So the next day they could read the trap, so we could we could Threatening Roar. Then draw one card for each. So you're then gonna go +1 off of that, and you've probably already gone +1 because of the Yangan effect. So you're really going +2. After that, you can then special summon one level 7 or higher reptile type monster from your deck. So then you get your Worm King out. So really, you're going like +3 off of this one card, which is really fantastic and amazing. Alright, so let's get into the extra deck real quick. We read 1 Stardust because of the Starlight Road. 2 Abyss Dwellers just because it's amazing this format against Dark Worlds and against Burbels. We read 1 Diagusto Emerald just in case they could somehow, like maybe they affect Veiling the card D, and then we have a Maxi in our hand, so maybe we want to go into a Gachi or a Diagusto. You'll actually be surprised that I have before had a Stardust out, tried to summon like a card or whatever, they've effect Veilered, and then the next turn I've played the Maxi or maybe another card, I can't remember quite exactly what it was, but then I made Phoenix and made my Stardust able to attack twice, and that was the end of the game. 1 Gaga Cowboy because he's so powerful, 1 Gaia Charger because of the Mind Crush, and then 2 King Feral. I don't ever summon these out because I'm playing TCG, but I just have them in the extra deck really to show you guys right now. They're good, really good, and they're going to make worms a little better, a little faster, but their power of setting slows the deck down in general, but this card just speeds it up a little bit. It allows you to grab your Zex even faster. 1 Maystroke, 1 Utopia, so you can make your Ray off of your own Utopia as well. You don't need to steal theirs. 1 Black Ship of Corn, the Ray, the Papal Operative, get rid of Spirit Reaper, you know, because a Yangan's just going to reset a Spirit Reaper in the hand. It's not going to destroy it. And a Stillstorm Roach, you know, if you fear that your opponent has like a Gores or a Tragodia and you want to push for game, you can always make Roach and get in there for game. So anyways, that's my worm deck. It's pretty fun. It's somewhat competitive, I'd say, but so I wouldn't label it under fun. I would label this deck under competitive, but it's not like tier 1. It's like a tier 3 deck probably. Maybe tier 2 if you're good enough with it. But anyways, that's Mike from EAKCrewProductions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace, y'all.